Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about From Season 3, Episode 9. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Okay, so first and foremost, we're picking up with Ellis and Boyd looking for Fatima, but during their search, because Ellis is panicked, understandably, because it's like, right, we have to go and find her as soon as possible. Like, something could have happened. Because for him, it's like, there's no way Fatima would leave, especially with everything going on. She wouldn't go off on her own. And it's also like how do we get people to help us? Because what do we do? Tell the town the truth? It's like, just like Donna said last episode, the town didn't, believe in Boyd with the whole Sarah thing. It's just kind of, they accepted it. They weren't about to, if would you tell the truth about Fatima, they're not about to let this go, because they'll just say it's another lapse of Boyd's leadership. Once again, like Donna said, they do not believe in him like they used to. So it's how do you rally people around that? And it's only a matter of time before Donna tells the public. But the fact is, they've also got to deal with Boyd's Parkinson's escalating, and obviously it's like things are getting bad, and he's even more concerned because it's like it's all happening simultaneously. This place is trying to break him his disease, which he knows that he has because it's like his dad had it. So it's like, which that conversation never got broached. Someone has to remind me, because I think it was. Maybe it was in season 1. It might have been the same episode we learned about his mom or something about Ellis's mom. I don't remember. I have a very vague memory of that first time we as the audience found out about Boyd's circumstances. But either way, I don't know. Just the timing is interesting. That it's like, right, it's a ticking clock, but like I said, everything that's going on. But I don't remember if the conversation came up about whether or not Ellis would have it, because that conversation didn't come up between him and Boyd, and I guess Ellis isn't really worried about right now, because it's like, and it's not like Boyd said anything to dissuade him from that potentially being, sadly something that could happen, because it's like it exists in their family. His father had it, Boyd has it, and there's a good chance Ellis might have it. Like I said, not unless that's something they've already been like, no, that's not going to happen. But you would think Boyd would have had that conversation in that time frame if that was the case. So, like I said, I think Ellis is more concerned about his dad right now than being worried about him. Because he's already got to worry about Fatima. Now he's learned that his dad's in the condition that he's in. So, and this place is so twisted where it's just kind of like, hey, Boyd, are you doing okay, Boyd? And he's just like, shut your mouth before I pull this trigger on you. But yeah, Boyd is actually kind of blaming himself for what's happening to Fatima. He's like, because he never told Ellis. He's told very few people the truth about what happened when Tien Chen died. It's like, those things made me watch as it murdered her because this place wants to break me. And he's even kind of saying like, yo, what if what's happening to Fatima is this place trying to fuck with me? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's messing with my family and the people I care about most. So that might be why Fatima was chosen, why this happened to her and not to anyone else. So just to get the boy, which Ellis is kind of like, no, it's not, but it's like, they don't know for sure. They don't know enough to say for certainty whether or not this isn't just this place messing with him is why it chose Fatima. Because it feels like it could be anyone, but they specifically chose Fatima, so. Which, speaking of Fatima, we catch up with her and Elgin, and Key believes that he's doing the right thing. Once again, I'm like, has Elgin not been filled in on everything? The full aspect of everything that went down with Sarah? Some people had their thoughts about how they're going to help everyone in this place. Sarah thought she was doing the right thing. This place convinced her to kill the dude that came with Jade, as well as Kenny's dad. And also almost persuade, well, not almost, she was ready to kill Ethan. She had her reservations and ended up accidentally killing her brother. So it's like, has those conversations not gotten to Elgin? Because he's like, you can't believe anything that this place says. But that's always a complicated double standard, because you have the boy in white who is trying to help, but it seems like he's got his own guidelines and rules. You got the ghosts, which are visiting not only Jade and Tabitha, but also Boyd in the form of Father Khatri. So it's like, it's hard to say because there are things that are here that appear to be on the human side, like on like team survivors. I mean, the reason why I'm just bringing that up is because like, why is Elgin so? I mean, to be fair, he was scared of the woman, but now he's willing to listen to her, and it's like, why would you go that far? Like, why don't you doubt this at this point in time? Like, how do you know this place isn't leading you down the wrong path? But I guess for him, it's like it's right about. It was right about everything with Fatima, because the reason why she's losing herself into the anger and stuff is because she's not eating and the baby's hungry. So he gives her his blood and she's guzzling it down. And it does seem like the baby is on supernatural time because it starts protruding, like it starts showing. Like I said, I was thinking like maybe there's some timey-wiminess going on here, especially because Elgin was like, it's not your baby. So I'm like, whose baby is it? Is it this place's baby? Like, is it kind of like a Antichrist thing kind of being born? Or is it like supposed to be the lady in the kimono? Like, is it supposed to be her baby? What? Whose baby is it then? And what? Once again, why Fatima? Other than just to mess with Boyd, like, was there some specific reason? I guess maybe it's also because like it needed to be someone like Fatima. Like maybe she fits certain other criteria that we're not quite clear of yet, because she herself believed she was not able to have children. And as we kind of find out in this episode, like, you know, and they've talked about it previously, but it is a thing of Fatima has been very helpful to a lot of people. She is kind of this ray of light here, as Donna says this episode. So it makes you wonder, like, is it supposed to be that thing of, yeah, this bright light here in this town, let's squash it and dim its light a little bit, just once again so despair can reign supreme instead of hope, even though they're supposed to feed off of hope. There's also that interesting discovery where Fatima finds a like kind of a hatch of some sort, which obviously when she found like the knob and with like the door handle was trying to pull on it, I was like, oh, it definitely gave me, obviously, like the Lost comparisons are there. I mean, especially because Harold Perrineau is in this, but it definitely gives you some hatch vibes from Lost. Obviously, you don't need a passcode or anything like that, but it's still the thing of she couldn't get it open this episode, so I'm curious what the hell that is and where it leads to. Because whatever it is, it was covered up in that dirt, so whatever it is has not been accessed in a very, very, very long time. Because at least everything in the room that she's in, I mean, it could also just, because I was like, it looked like it was in decent enough condition when Elgin found it, so maybe it's been a while, but maybe not that long since someone was in that room last. Because it was that specific room that Elgin like found that dead body. He was like, oh, this is where, I don't think it was, this is where it happened. It's like, this is where it happened. You have Boyd talking to Donna about the whole situation with Fatima, because Donna realizing how much not only does Fatima mean to the town, but how much she means to Donna, because she is like a daughter to Donna. And especially considering like what she lost in this place. She lost her sister, so I don't think she looks at Fatima like a little sister. I think she looks at her like a daughter and stuff like that. But when you've lost your only family, like she latched on, because Fatima has become like family to a lot of people. She's very important to a lot of people, especially like Donna, Ellis, and Boyd. She means the most to them. Julie as well, considering like she was that fundamental person that kind of like made Julie kind of feel like everything's okay, that this place, it has some semblance of feeling and being okay. Like Fatima opened her eyes to all that, which is interesting considering like Julie probably thought about that for the first time in a while when she went up to Fatima's room, just like for that view of the town. But either way, Donna decided not to say anything, because it's just like, right, it's just, we'll figure that out when the bridge, like when we cross that bridge, but it's like, don't have time to really sit down and explain. But also it's like to the people, but also it's like she means so much to so many people that it's like us telling the truth to this town would break it anymore. Like people, Donna, it's barely hanging on, and she's like, this town could not take it if we had to reveal. Yeah, Fatima like either snapped or something's growing inside of her that's pure evil. But there's also the element of Sarah hearing voices, and those voices tell her about Fatima. Gives her enough detail to make them desperate of, hey, Fatima's in trouble. She was taken by something. Never said someone, something, to keep it vague. I mean, I guess whatever's leading Elgin is a something, so I guess it still counts. But it's because of that, like, they don't know, they have kind of a pseudo traitor of sorts in their midst, that there's another Sarah in the making to some pseudo sense. I don't think he's going to be put in the same position that Sarah's in. Granted, there's always a possibility, considering how things play out, he might end up killing Ellis just to keep things quiet. I'm kind of nervous about that. Elgin isn't the type of person that wants to hurt anyone. It's very passive, and he wants to do what he believes is best for everyone. They end up rallying the entire town together to try and look for it. Everyone's off in pairs, and Elgin made sure to go with Ellis because he wants to try and, talk to Ellis and calm him down, because out of anyone, he's probably the most panicked about Fatima, understandably. But especially after Boyd gave his rousing speech about, like, yo, this place tried to break us before, but look, I got here, there were no talismans. We found them, and we were able to push back and, fight back against these things. We can do it again. So none of that seemed to reach or resonate with Elgin, because once again, I think for him, it's like, whatever that woman in the kimono is and what's going on with Fatima is going to be our salvation. It's not our doom like those monsters and the rest of this place is. Once again, there's somewhat good that seems to be on the survivor side in this place, and it's just hard to delineate between what's this place effing, what part of this is the place effing with you versus, hey, I'm actually legitimately trying to help. I mean, because even Elgin is trying to spin things to Ellis being like, yo, you need to be more mindful. Like, maybe everything's happening for a reason. Because he talks about the dream he had. And he's like, because he'd even told Fatima, like, hey, like, I remembered my dream or whatever, and I told Boyd, and he was able to save the town. So it's like, yeah, like, whatever role I'm supposed to play in this, it is important. It is a necessary role, a necessary piece to this puzzle. So for him, he's still trying to spin it as whatever's happening with Fatima, it means it must be a good thing. It has to be, right? Don't assume it's bad. We don't know enough, which is like, yes, Elgin, you should take your own words. You don't know enough to say what's happening is good. You can't say whether it's good or bad, but it's like, you got to know it's bad enough that the fact is, you're like, you're not 100% in the right, considering you kidnapped a woman and you're keeping her hidden away from the entire town. You're even here, like, you're not fully misleading Ellis. You'd only do that if he gets too close. It's just about trying to calm him down. Like, I don't know if Elgin thinks if he could sweet talk Ellis into, like, buying into all of this, which I get the feeling by the end of the episode, Ellis might be a little, just a tiny bit suspicious of Elgin, but I don't know if anything's quite registered, because Elgin's hearing for the first time about Ellis's mom, and he's like, oh, your mom was in this place? It's like, yes, she was. He doesn't know, because all Ellis says is like, right, because of what happened to his mom, how she died, he's like, I don't want to go through that again. It's like, well, it probably would do you good to tell Ellis, like, yeah, my mom, actually this place got inside of her head, kind of what's going on with Fatima right now, which is why the parallel runs even deeper. They set up that parallel last episode, they even talked about it. But it's like, yeah, is she going crazy like my mom did, to the point that Boyd had to put her down after she already killed so many people and was about to kill their son. Speaking of Boyd, you have this conversation between him and Kenny, because he lets Kenny know, like, about his situation. And he's like, when the time comes, I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow or next week or maybe even a month from now, but when the time comes and I'm not able to do my duty, you need to take this badge and lead this town. He's like, I'm not trusting it to a hot shot like Acosta. It needs to be you. No one else in this town do I trust to do this. But Kenny was like, I'm not going to take your sheriff's badge, but I will take that deputy badge back. Which I'm like, yay, but it makes me immediately suspicious of, are you going to turn around and kill Kenny in the same season you killed his mom? Because that's super fucked. Like, it feels like I mean, like, anyone can be on the chopping block, and I'm like, I don't think Boyd is, but I could definitely see this being the type of show of like, yeah, we're gonna kill our, like, kind of, even though it is an ensemble cast, he's kind of like your main hero. He's kind of the main hero, which is interesting considering like your main entry point was through Jim and his family, and obviously, but everyone has a role. This town in particular seems to have a major hard-on for Boyd, so. Oh, it sucks being popular, but it sucks having main character energy, main protagonist energy. So, something I was concerned about this episode that didn't come up, but I was still concerned of like, well, we heard the rumblings at Colony House. Well, it had to be Sarah, right? Sarah, she's already killed before. It had to be her. I thought that was going to come up in this episode, but I'm like, well, luckily, Victor's our alibi, but it's like, well, he's kind of off on his own, which we'll get to Victor in a second. But then I'm like, well, Tabitha isn't much of an alibi, but Acosta brings it up when it's like, okay, the thing that Boyd said about the voices saying like, yo, what Fatima's circumstances, it came from Sarah. Acosta's kind of like, okay, what's going on here? How do we know that Sarah's not lying? It's well, Donna knows she's not because they already know Fatima's the killer, but we can't say anything. Especially Acosta's not going to be listening because she immediately like, wait, there's a killer out there loose. Like she's so busy thinking like a regular cop. It's like, this ain't you're such that new blood here that it's like you don't know what's going on. And Donna's like, dude, I don't have enough time to run through you a goddamn tutorial about this place. It's just this place gets inside of your head and will convince you to do some stuff. So it's like, right, like, I don't have time to explain Sarah's circumstances enough, but Acosta's like, please, like, you want me to, I'm a good cop. She's like, if you're a good cop, help me find Fatima, because what she means to a lot of people, what she means to me. And it's just like, right, I'll explain everything later. So we'll see how that shakes out. But circling to Victor, as I thought after last episode's revelation, he blames himself for what happened to his mom. And so he's like, yeah, because for him, it's like for so long he thought like, right, I need to unravel the truth, the mystery, those memories that seem so lost and gone. Oh, wait, now it reveals that my mom wasn't supposed to go through the faraway tree. It was supposed to be Christopher, but he didn't listen to the boy in white. And he told his mom, and his mom decided if no one's going to do it, she was. And he's like, he blames himself. It's like, your mom made her choice, but it's still, it's not going to alleviate his own guilt in that moment. So he grabs an axe from the house and he goes to try and chop down the tree, but then the boy in white appears and tries to stop him. Which I love that whole conversation of, why do you look different? He's like, everything's changing. Is that a bad thing? It's like, yes, because nothing's supposed to change here, which I thought was interesting. I would assume that's supposed to be the same kid who's played the boy in white the entire time. It's just like, right, he is a kid, so he is getting older and taller. So they're playing, I love that that's kind of like a story beat of, yo, I'm getting older, so yeah, this place is changing, things aren't right here. And it's like, Victor's begging, like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, just don't cut down the tree, it's important. Like, you need to tell us what to do. He's like, I tried that with Christopher. He's like, the only way you'll believe me is like, you have to see it for yourself, which I'm like, what the hell did you tell? Like, well, you told Christopher something, but we don't have the full context. But what is it that they're supposed to see that it's like, I was about to say, I'm like, no spoilers, but if you've seen Alice in Borderland, I'm like, oh, do we have an Alice in Borderland situation going on here? Which could also be kind of a lost situation, and it's, well, I don't know. There's probably more of a lost situation going on here rather than like an Alice in Borderland situation. I won't even begin, like, if you've never read the manga or watched the live action, because I'm pretty sure the live action plays out exactly the same, well, for the most part, story beat wise. How it ends and revelations at the end of it, I think are exactly from the manga. But anyway, tangents and all that aside, like, I was wondering if that's going to be the reveal, if it's going to be an Alice in Borderland type of reveal, but I don't, like, that's the only thing I can think of. I was like, well, that has to be the thing you have to see for yourself because you won't believe it otherwise. What else could that mean? But yeah, I wonder what would happen if Victor did chop down the tree. Like, would there be consequences, or would chopping down the tree like undo, like basically close all avenues to ever getting out of this place? Maybe, maybe not. You have Jim trying everything he can to pull his family back together again. He's dealing with Julia in the aftermath of everything last episode, and she's not telling her family what went down. She needs to talk to some people. Like, it's in particular, she needs to talk to Boyd to be like, yo, like, I went to these ruins, and he was like, yo, I was there too. She's like, yeah, I threw down some rope. He was like, wait, that was you? He's like, yeah, that guy Martin, he talked to me, he knew me. So it's like, she explains a little bit to her mom later on that she was like, oh, I was in that cave and I heard your voice, but it seemed further and further. Then I heard the kids screaming and saying Ankui, and it's like I said, she did a little time traveling, but I'm like, I don't know if it's like true time travel or she just, was it like she literally did time travel? But it seemed like, no, I was about to say, not unless her consciousness time traveled in a very, like, if you've ever seen the show Travelers, how time travel works in that, it's not your body time travels, only your consciousness does. So I was like, well, that has to be the case because her physical body was left behind because Ethan was shaking her and trying to he ended up getting Acosta and Kenny last episode to help move Julie. So it was definitely like all in her conscious mind, but I'm like, was she actually kind of time traveling, or was it just like why those specific spots? I mean, she interacted enough with it to be the one that ended up dropping the rope that allowed Boyd to climb up. So I'm like, I don't know. She doesn't know what to make of all of it, and I think her own guilt about, like, Ethan feeling guilty makes her not want to talk again because she doesn't feel like she has anyone to really talk to about it. Marielle doesn't want to talk about it in general. Randall definitely doesn't want to talk about it, to the point Jim actually asked him for advice, and it's like, right, you want my advice? Go teach your daughter how to, like, drive a car. He's like, that's what I went out there to the woods with her for. I can't explain why. I just had this feeling of like, yo, we need to stay away from these ruins, and I told her as much. Just enjoy what time you have with your kid, because he's like, none of us, I don't think any of us are getting out of here. But the conversation he had last episode with Henry is convincing him, like, yo, I'm all in here. I'm going to talk to... I'm going to listen to Tabitha, and it's like, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to solve in this place, I'll be there for you. No pushback. We'll go full throttle. Like, I got your back. And even I love that conversation he had with Ethan where they went back to the RV, and I was like, oh, like how it's so poetic considering like this is where it all started. And he had talked about like, right, what happened to you, Ethan? I blamed myself, but he was like, no, it wasn't your fault. You were just trying to do your best. He's like you were with your sister. It's like, that's what everyone here is doing. Like, we're all trying our best. And especially in times where it gets hard, that could lead us to kind of like bag and rag on ourselves and tear ourselves down. But it's like, no, we're all just trying to do our best, even in the worst of times. So it's going to be okay. Because even he's like, I haven't quite forgiven myself for my role in everything. I mean, because that was actually a conversation, if I remember correctly. Because didn't Christy jump down Jim's throat? Yeah, what? Yeah. Did I have this conversation? Deja vu. I was like, because like I was thinking, I think I had that exact same conversation about how maybe it's not even deja vu, because maybe I did have this exact conversation during a recording or something. About like me conflating, thinking like, oh, didn't an argument happen in season 1? It's like, no, I think it happened in season 2. Or no, it might have happened in season 1. I don't remember. Or like Christy was kind of blaming Jim's actions. I don't remember. Now, like I said, it just gave me this weird deja vu. But we also had this really nice conversation between Henry and Jade yet again. I even loved Jade being like, why aren't you talking to Tabitha or literally anyone else in this town about Victor? Why are you talking to me? He's like, well, don't take offense to this, but you remind me of Victor. It's like, really? It's like, yes, he's a little off because of everything he's going through. I just found you talking to people that weren't there. And he was like, fair. But it's like, I love Jade's point of that conversation of, you're so busy trying to fix your son. It's like, because he's like, oh, it's like trying to talk to Victor. It's like he's a completely different person. It's like, yes, He is. You're trying to pick up where things left off between you and your son. It's like that can't happen. Your son is a completely different person. He was shaped by this place, but he is not broken. He survived in this place for decades, and it shaped him to who he is. But don't try to come at him like he needs to be fixed. It's kind of something. It's almost like that thing of you have to hear. Like sometimes it's hard to hear your own advice. So Henry's advice to Jim, it's like kind of getting thrown back to him to a slight extent. It is interesting that the person Jade saw this time ended up being Christopher and Jasper, considering like you're at the heart of all of this, especially on the Victor side of things. So, which speaking of, I wasn't expecting when Tabitha and Julie followed the one of the children, it led to that underground area, and Victor was already there. So I was like, that's interesting. But none of them are hearing Fatima. I mean, the whole point was, oh, she's so close by, but you won't get to her in time. It's like so sad because they're right in front of where she is, because they don't know about the back room. The only person that knows about it is, well, Fatima, because she's back there, and also Eldrin, who put her back there. So, but I guess that's why the woman in the kimono puts her. I was like, what is she trying to do? It's like, oh, she's trying to keep Fatima quiet so that none of the others find her there. But yeah, this is obviously the spot where Victor's mom left him and his sister. And we've been having this thing. It happens 3 times in this episode for Tabitha. First, when she touches Victor at the beginning of the episode, roughly around the beginning of the episode, her touching the door to that place, and then finally when she hugs Victor, she ends up having a flashback. Like she specifically is able to see his memory of when his mom like left to go do the whole faraway tree thing to save the children. And I'm like, and the way she was saying like, no, this is impossible. I'm like, what is that about? Like, is it supposed to be about her dream? Because part of me was like, what was that supposed to signify? Like, why is it just the craziness of I'm seeing something I shouldn't be able to see, or did it unlock something in her memories? Because I'm wondering, like, once again, because the whole tree thing was something Miranda was never supposed to do. It was supposed to be Christopher. So who's the person this time? Considering Tabitha's in the same boat as Miranda. Like she was never Miranda saw this place well before she got here. Tabitha dreamed about this place back when she was a little kid. So it's like, what does that mean? Because it's like, so that means Tabitha wasn't chosen to be the person that's supposed to go through the tree. So who's supposed to go through it? Is it supposed to be Victor? I would assume not, considering like all the time that's passed. So you're like, could it be Ethan? I don't know. Boyd's already been through, and I don't think he was the chosen one. So I'm just not quite sure what to make of the whole thing of like why, aside from like you're seeing something horrific, why is that shaking Tabitha to a core? That's why I had to keep rewinding. I'm like, am I missing something? Because like what's also even sadder is like Victor's mom, Miranda, never actually even made it inside of the tree. You thought maybe she went to the tower and then got killed or something. It's like, no. Before she could even get inside of the tree, one of the monsters showed up and attacked her. Granted, we never saw it kill her on screen, but I don't fully know what to make of the Tabitha situation. I went into this knowing like this is going to be a 2-parter. You know, I mean, obviously it's just like in the next, that through line is going to feel even more like these are two back to back, like these are 2 episodes that are directly connected. I mean, they're all continuations of each other, but you get what I'm saying, it being a part 1 and a part 2. But I'm like, I'm so confused on what a lot of this means. Maybe we'll get some answers in the season finale that'll clarify at least some of this. I don't know. We'll have to ultimately wait to see how it plays out. Will Fatima survive? What's going to happen when the baby comes out? Will it kill her in the process? Is Eldrin going to survive? Because is he going to mess around and end up becoming like the bad guy and end up getting killed? Like, hey, you try to bring this baby into the world and said baby ends up murking you. Do you end up trying to kill Ellis because he finds out? Once again, because Tabitha, Victor, and Julie are all there. They just don't know. Literally, like, a room or 2 away is Fatima. So we'll have to wait to see, but really that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.